Hi everyone, this is Francesca, Shelby, and Jordan, and today we are just going to be talking about binge drinking with college students and just the effects that it could have on this specific population of people. Before we get started, I just want to show you what a college party looks like and what binge drinking is looking like at these parties and how it is perceived in movies. This is from a clip called Project X.
To the break of dawn, yo!
Tell me what you know about dreams. Tell me what you know about night terrors. Nothing. You don't really care about the trials of tomorrow. Rather lay awake in the bed full of sorrow. I'm on the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything that's shining always gonna be gold. Hey, I'll be fine once I get
So first of all, what is binge drinking? Binge drinking is defined by the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism in 2025 as a pattern of drinking alcohol that brings your blood alcohol concentration, or your BAC, to 0.08% or 0.08 grams of alcohol per deciliter or higher. Rates of binge drinking among people ages 18 to 25 are decreasing but remain high. It was 28.7% in 2023. According to the 2023 NSDUH, of full-time college students ages 18 to 22, 46.3% drank alcohol and 27.9% engaged in binge drinking in the past month. So, binge drinking also increases the likelihood of blackouts, overdoses, and unsafe sexual behaviors that may end in unwanted pregnancy or STDs. This is also a host of heightened potential deadly consequences like drowning or car crashes. And unfortunately, it is the number one public health hazard and primary source of morbidity and mortality for more than 6 million college students. Another question that a lot of college students can't seem to understand is how much alcohol is too much alcohol. A study showed that college students often overpour because they are unaware of the standard pour sizes. Shapes of different glasses are also an important factor. Students completed an alcohol survey and performed tasks that required them to free pour a single beer, a glass of wine, a shot of liquor, or the amount of liquor in a mixed drink. And about roughly half of the students received feedback regarding their definitions of standard drink sizes. So for this slide, it's going to go over frequency and perspectives. Binge drinking rates fluctuate heavily based on the specific college environment. 1% of student binge drinkers at lowest frequency school and 70% of students binge drinkers at highest frequency school. Less common at HBICs and all-women universities. Less than 1% of all individuals studied including less than 0.6% of binge drinkers reported themselves as having a drinking problem. Increased usage promoted by social factors. Some of these factors might include fitting in, talking about weekend plans and conversation, decreased social anxiety, and promotes talkativeness or fun story times after alcohol use. Drinking is seen as a norm in college, making it seem to be more acceptable and permissible for this population. College is perceived as a break from real-world accountability and responsibilities. The following statistics were estimated by researchers to occur each year for college students between the ages 18 and 24 years old. Some of these statistics include 40% of college students engaged in binge drinking in the past month compared to 35% of same-age peers not in college. 1,825 college students between the ages of 18 and 24 die from alcohol-related injuries each year. 3,360,000 students between the ages of 18 and 24 drive under the influence of alcohol. 696,000 college students encounter assaults by another student who has been drinking alcohol each year. 97,000 college students between the ages of 18 and 24 report experiencing alcohol-related sexual assault. 25% of college students report academic consequences from drinking alcohol, including failing to attend classes, falling behind in class, doing poorly on exams or assessments, and receiving lower grades overall. 400,000 students reported having unprotected sex while under the influence of alcohol, and more than 100,000 students reported having been too intoxicated to know if they agreed to having sex. A study was done in 2022 about the sense of belonging between college students, and the results found were that 39.3% of college students reported binge drinking. If a sense of belonging was reported, they had higher odds of binge drinking than those who did not report a sense of belonging. Students may be more inclined to drink when committed to school activities and group membership. Off-campus events have more binge drinking, and there is an association between binge drinking and poor grades. Next, binge drinking and loneliness. Loneliness steadily increased from 1976 to 2019 and became even higher during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. About 80% of Generation Z, which is 1997 to the present day, reported feeling lonely. And college students who experience higher levels of loneliness and engage in food and alcohol disturbances are at a higher risk for experiencing future alcohol-related problems. Food and alcohol disturbance may be appropriate target for interventions aimed at reducing alcohol-related problems amongst college students experiencing loneliness in the future. Here are just some other risk concerns about binge drinking. Binge drinkers are 7 to 10 times more likely to have unprotected sex, engage in unplanned sexual activity, damage property, get in trouble with campus security or police, or get hurt or injured. Driving under the influence is more common in college students, with binge drinkers reporting significantly higher rates of driving while under the influence compared to non-binge drinkers. Other students are more likely to experience secondhand effects of other binge drinking, such as being humiliated or embarrassed, being assaulted, had studying or sleep interruptions, or a victim of social advances. Students rated athletics as their second biggest source of stress, the first being academics. Athletics-related anxiety was associated with significantly higher cannabis and prescription drug use and other substance-related risk, including drinking. 197 student athletes surveyed from Northern Midwest colleges, and the results were 27.8% reported binge drinking at least monthly. 40.9% of participants had used alcohol or drugs to relax or feel better about yourself or to fit in. Being over 21, male, having a lower GPA, higher pain level, higher stress level, and higher athletic-related anxiety led to increased alcohol and drug use overall, and drugs and alcohol abused in order to cope with athletics-related stress. Going forward, these are just some other ideas to study, and that is the possibility that athletic-related anxiety increases drug and alcohol abuse, as well as the possibility that negative consequences of substance use on health and performance may increase athletics-related anxiety. According to this study, unfavorable attitudes towards binge drinking were increased by loss framing. Unfavorable attitudes were more significantly associated with decreased intentions to binge drink among heavy drinkers than non-heavy drinkers. Overall, loss framing indirectly and positively influences behavioral intentions to not binge drink. The effective messages to stop binge drinking, the gain-framed messages highlight the desirable outcomes of taking recommended actions and did not cause strong enough feelings to stop binge drinking. The loss frame messages emphasize negative outcomes of not taking recommended actions and cause significantly higher increase in unfavorable attitudes towards binge drinking, and then there is the debate about which is better. The influence of COVID-19. The assessment included drinking motives and norms and asked about binge drinking frequency before and after the campus closed. Students that reported lower binge drinking showed different coping mechanisms, better drinking motives, and better coping with isolation. Students that reported higher binge drinking reported higher perceived drinking norms and were more likely to be involved in Greek life. From this study, there was a total of 741 first-year college students that completed an assessment to assess the drinking habits before and after the campus closure, and the results showed about half reported not binge drinking, 6.75% reported consistent frequency, 39.41% reported lower binge drinking, and 4.18% reported higher binge drinking. Continuing on with the COVID-19 impact of binge drinking in college students, there was another study that included Zurich University of Applied Sciences and it took 947 students and 9 survey time points between April 2020 and June 2021. The results showed that 20% reported increased alcohol consumption overall, 26% reported increased binge drinking, higher anxiety led to more alcohol consumption and binge drinking, male, younger, and not living with parents, and higher perceived social support only associated with engaging in heavy binge drinking. This shows a substantial number of students developed more risky drinking habits. If a person had an increased drinking level before the pandemic, it statistically got worse after the pandemic, and they cited high anxiety levels to be the cause. At the beginning of the study, 1/5 reported an increased alcohol consumption, and 1/4 reported binge drinking. Due to the time that the survey was completed, it is believed that alcohol was being used as a coping mechanism. The big question now is how to help. The most common high-risk students include Greek organizations such as sororities or fraternities, first-year students, and first-year athletes, as well as first-generation students. A study was conducted that shows that campuses have put into effect intervention programs in order to reduce alcohol availability. Campuses as a whole. In order to do this, research shows that reducing alcohol availability cuts the consumption and harmful consequences on campus as well as the general population. And just to go into some more of the interventions, education and awareness programs are being done, cognitive behavioral skills-based approaches, motivation and feedback-related approaches, as well as behavioral interventions by health professionals. The next slide is just a short video about how alcohol can affect the brain and the body. This is the conclusion of our presentation. We just wanted to reinforce that college students and binge drinking is a large issue that is ongoing and occurring on campuses for many years, and factors such as a sense of belonging, loneliness, COVID-19, stress, and so many more different aspects all play a part in the student binge drinking. This is just a list of all of our references that we used to find the different studies throughout this project, and we hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Shelby, Jordan, or Francesca. Thank you.